Hey guys, this is Nirpon from the Underwater Photography Guide and Bluewater Photo. Today I'm super excited to review the new GoPro Mission 1 Pro. This is GoPro's newest camera and their newest line of camera to succeed the Hero line. I mean, I don't know if they'll make some more Hero cameras, but this is basically GoPro's newest and first compact cinema camera. So they're making a newer, more expensive line of cameras with more capability for cinematography. They're really kind of targeting cinema shooters that want more control of their video. It's packed with features including 8K video up to 60 frames per second, 4K video up to 240 frames per second, open gate recording, log recording, which is awesome, and so much more. So I'm going to talk a little bit about where this fits in, if it's worth getting a new one over the Hero 13, because this camera is now $699 for the Mission Pro, and I'm pretty stoked about it after diving with it for the last weekend. I wouldn't say it's a huge upgrade depending on what you want to do with the camera, but if you are into editing, into color editing, and you need the best of the best, the GoPro Mission 1 Pro is it, and it's definitely going to beat any compact camera out there for underwater video. So this to me is one of the coolest cameras that's been announced in the last year, and I'm going to tell you why. But before I do, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. It's super helpful for the YouTube algorithm. It gets our content out there. If you like the video, please like. If you don't like the video, please like. It'll be awesome. I'll put any links to what I used in the comments below. I was using my new Bluewater 3000 underwater video light, as well as this Kraken tray and tons of other accessories. We actually have these at Bluewater Photo as a full kit, so check it out. And anyway, now I'm gonna get to the full review. So for the last weekend, I've been diving out here in beautiful sunny Southern California at Casino Point. It's a beautiful day, as you can see. And I've been diving the famous Casino Point dive site, which is one of the most popular shore diving sites in the world with the Mission 1 Pro. Now, I've been taking advantage of its full set of features, shooting 4K, 240 frames per second, 120 frames per second, shooting 8K video up to 60 frames per second, shooting log. I did the whole palette of what this camera has to offer, and it's an excellent camera. Now, what makes the Mission line of cameras different from the Hero line of cameras is you have an upgraded sensor and an upgraded processor, which makes the body just a little bit bigger. So as you can see, the Mission 1 Pro is just a little bit bigger. The processor is the new GP3 processor. It also has a 1-inch sensor, which means that you're going to have a little bit better low light capability, which I found to be the case. The camera is also capable of 50 megapixel photos, and so it's just all around an upgraded camera compared to the original GoPro Hero 13. Now, underwater, I'm just going to share with you guys my thoughts about how it was diving with this and each of those features and how I thought they did. But I'd say underwater, if you took the Hero 13 and the GoPro Mission 1 Pro and put them side by side, they are actually fairly similar cameras and the quality looks fairly similar if you're just shooting normal 4K 60 video. And I often find that 4K 60 is just the best frame rate and resolution for my computer to handle. Now, I was diving in Truck Lagoon a few weeks ago, and I actually had one of my students had a Mission 1 Pro and a Hero 13 side by side on their camera tray, and they were taking a look at the footage, and they actually said that they felt like overall the color and the details and the sharpness wasn't very different from the Hero 13 versus the Mission 1 Pro. So if you're doing normal diving, you're out here, it's a sunny day, you're filming 4K 60, is there really a difference between the Mission 1 Pro and the Hero 13? Probably not a huge difference. But if you're gonna start pushing the camera to the limits, that's where it really matters. So I was filming 8K video with the Mission 1 Pro, and with the capability of doing 8K 60, it means that you can crop an insane amount with your footage, which is excellent if you're doing macro video or you're not quite close enough to your subject and you want to just get a closer frame. So 8K is great for cropping, and if you have 60 frames per second, you can even slow that down. So for handheld video underwater, it's an excellent capability to have. The original Mission 1, so not the Pro, only does 8K 30. Now I say only, the GoPro Hero 13 does 5.3K, so it's still a big step up. but you won't be able to slow that down. So that's something to keep in mind. And I will mention before, you guys are saying, oh, I forgot about the, I believe it's the ISL, but the highest end of the line of cameras that can do micro four thirds lenses, it doesn't have an underwater housing, and I don't know when they'll come out with one or if they ever will. So I'm not going to talk about that camera. This review is really just about the Mission 1 Pro and the Mission 1. So at the other end of the spectrum, if it's really wavy, like it was kind of this weekend, we have a hurricane coming up the coast, it can be really nice to have a little bit of extra stabilization in addition to the amazing stabilization that's already built into the camera. I will say the built-in stabilization is awesome. It really feels like you're on a gyroscope. It's super stable. Everyone knows that about GoPros. But if you can do 4K 240 frames per second, you can slow your footage down 8 times and have insane stability, but of course it's gonna look very slow motion. So there's not a ton of situations where I'm gonna be doing that. Maybe quick action if you're doing a lot of pelagic video and you wanna video a sardine run, 4K 240 is great. Was I doing that really at all here? I didn't need that. So for me, wasn't really the capability I needed. That said, where I think the Mission 1 Pro really shines over the Hero 13 is that this camera does fantastic low light video, especially at night. So I was actually able to do a night dive here at Casino Point. I took it down, and one of the limitations with GoPro, because their sensors are so small, is that you get a lot of noise at night, especially when your camera's filming at high ISOs. So with the Mission 1 Pro, it's a lot cleaner, it's a lot more usable, and I think it's an excellent camera for doing night dives or for very low light situations like diving in the Pacific Northwest, where I often dive. So if you are a low light diver and you do a lot of night dives, the Mission 1 Pro actually really does come in handy and is worth the upgrade for that. So for me, I actually think I would upgrade to the Mission 1 Pro because I do so much low light diving. Now let's talk a little bit about underwater photography with the Mission 1 Pro. It's not really a photo camera, obviously. It's more of a video oriented camera. It's made for cinematographers, but it does have the capability of doing 50 megapixel photos. Now, of course, when you're in the settings, it actually allows you to pick between, like, I think it's 25 or 24 megapixels and 50 megapixels. I chose 50 megapixels to see how the capability really was. With a 1-inch sensor, 50 megapixels is insane. It's a lot of pixels. Each one of the pixels is going to be very small. It is what you need for 8K video with this camera, but I didn't expect the best detail ever or the best noise underwater. Overall, I was not super impressed with the photos. I think I would prefer to just have a smartphone housing with my smartphone to take underwater photos. But I mean, in a pinch, it really does do a good job. And I was able to shoot RAW. So you can actually shoot RAW photos, you can edit them afterwards. They look good. But it's just important to know that like if you're gonna zoom in and look at the details, they look very weird. It looks a little bit artificial. It looks a bit like the processor was using AI or something to over process that image. So it's not my favorite camera for underwater photography, but you can do underwater photography. If you're really still, you can do some really cool high resolution macro shots. But again, I mean, I think you could also use Topaz Topaz AI to really make your photos bigger as well. You don't necessarily need to just have a 50 megapixel photo, so you could probably be fine with just choosing that 25 megapixel setting. Now, talking about underwater color with the Mission 1 Pro, I felt like it did really good and also really bad at the same time, and that was kind of interesting. So the built-in color profiles are good. I stopped liking the vibrant profile on this camera. I was just using the natural profile by the end of the weekend, and that was just because I felt like it made the colors a little bit too oversaturated. On top of that, I switched the white balance mode to underwater, and I don't think it did that great of a job, to be honest. My footage was a little bit green overall, and I know the conditions weren't as green as it looks in the video. They were a little bit on the bluer side. You can do a white balance adjustment, but honestly, this camera has so much capability. What I preferred to do was just shoot in log. So for those of you that don't know what log is, it stands for logarithmic picture profile, and it really takes your shadows and your highlights, it compresses it into this really flat profile, which when you're processing afterwards, you uncompress it. It's called color grading. And so you add a little bit of contrast, you change your colors, you change your white balance. It's a lot more malleable. It's kind of like shooting a raw photo. So the fact that you can shoot log with the Mission 1 Pro is excellent, and I actually would prefer to do that for most of my shooting, and I did do that. So that's what I would recommend. If you are gonna use the underwater mode, it does work pretty good. Down to about 30 feet, it was working excellent. Once I got below like 30 to 60, the automatic white balance was just okay. It was a little bit green for my taste, and I thought the water was a little bit bluer than what it was showing. That said, still got some really epic video that I'm pretty happy with. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the buzzword of 2026, which is open gate. Open gate is basically an aspect ratio that uses the full sensor on your camera. Now that's a 1-inch sensor in this case. It's not gonna be a 16:9 aspect ratio. So for me, open gate is just a buzzword. I don't like that word at all. I'm gonna shoot 16:9. I'm gonna edit in 16:9. I'm gonna post in 16:9. And until the standard format really changes, I'm gonna shoot 16:9. That said, that format is changing a little bit. If you're an Instagram shooter, if you shoot for social media, open gate can be kind of nice because it's a little bit easier to get vertical crops. So that's why people use open gate. With the Mission 1 Pro, I believe open gate can be done at 4K 120, which is a nice frame rate and resolution to use for that. I wasn't using that. I'm sure my social media team at Bluewater is not going to be happy to hear that. But I was shooting 16:9 because that to me is what I'm filming for. I'm filming for YouTube. I'm filming for that format, and I shoot pretty much all my video horizontally instead of vertical. And then the social media team has to take that and make that vertical. To make it easier on them, I would have done 4K 120. Open gate. All right, so finally, let's talk a little bit about underwater housings and accessories for the Mission 1 Pro and the Mission 1. It is pretty early on right now. I just got this camera from GoPro. They dropped it off for me in Huntington Beach. I'm gonna drop it off to them for the US Surf Open next weekend. There is a protective housing for the Mission 1 at Bluewater Photo, and it sells for $59.99, I believe, so it's a pretty decent price. Without the housing, the camera can go down to 66 feet or 20 meters. With the housing, it can go down to 200 feet. So well within recreational limits using this housing. It's a good housing. It fits the camera nicely. It has the same attachment mount as the original HERO line of cameras. So everything's gonna look pretty similar to how it was before. The nice thing is though, it also has a vertical mount on the side, so that's kind of new with the housing. It still has the same 2-button operation. You turn it on with a side button, you take your video or photo with a shutter button here, and then you can use the side button to flip through the different modes that you can preset. And you can add lots of presets with different names all through your settings. I'll have a separate video out about the settings for the Mission 1 Pro, but overall it's a good housing. There's also an AOI universal housing, and I'm not going to be surprised if Isotta comes out with a housing pretty soon here. And there's going to be a lot more housings for the Mission 1 and the Mission 1 Pro. It's just so early on that there's not much more out for that. Now, there is an Enon Mission 1 Pro adapter that can be used for the housing, and then you can attach Enon wide-angle lenses and Enon macro lenses to your GoPro housing, and that's excellent. So Enon makes, in my opinion, the best quality GoPro accessory lenses on the market. Their wide-angle lens, the G140, is fantastic. The G55 macro is my favorite. I'll post links to all of those below, and I highly recommend getting the protective mask, which is just basically a bayonet system where you just bayonet your lenses on. I don't have that yet, so I couldn't shoot with that this weekend, and then you can get the Enon accessories as well. But if we're talking about underwater lighting, there is one video light that I recommend for this GoPro HERO Mission 1. It's super small. It's the new Bluewater 3000 lumen video light. It's an excellent video light. It's a great size. You can just put it right onto your tray with a single arm and clamps, and it works great. It's a very compact system. It's super lightweight. I can throw it around and it's just fine. I actually shot this in addition to my primary camera. It was so lightweight and easy to use. So that's my recommended light. It's got a white beam, a red beam, and if you want 2 of them, that's even better. That gives you 6,000 lumens. So yeah, this to me is the ideal system. I'll put links to that below because we've got a deal and a special on that for our exclusive housing systems for the Mission 1 Pro and lighting kits. So check that out for sure. But Bluewater Photo, if you want to get set up with the whole thing, or you want modifications, or you just want help putting a quote together, email us at sales@bluewaterphotostore.com, and we're happy to get you set up. So this was basically my whole review of the Mission 1 Pro system. The Mission 1, as I said, is pretty similar. There's just a few less features, and the Mission ILS, which has the Micro Four Thirds system, is probably not going to be usable underwater, so it won't apply to underwater videographers. I'm going to end this review with saying that if you care about low light underwater video, you want the smallest compact camera that can do the best video, and you want the ability to edit color, then the Mission 1 Pro is going to be the GoPro for you. The stabilization is excellent. It does great underwater during night dives. You can use that log footage to really color grade and color correct and change your white balance. So if all of that appeals to you, I think the Mission 1 Pro is honestly worth the upgrade to $699. If not, if you just shoot 4K 60 and that's what you do, and you don't really care what you're filming, you're not going to do much post-processing, you don't do many night dives, you might want to stick with the Hero 13. It's a lot cheaper. But overall, I'm very impressed with the Mission 1 Pro. I thought my footage was great. For what it's worth, there really aren't other compact cameras on the market that have the similar specs. So if you're into video, you need something compact, this is it. So reach out to us at sales@bluewaterphotostore.com. We'll get you set up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I hope to see you out there diving.